Welcome to Redbeard and the Den of Tools. Howdy ho, guys and gals. I'm Jeff, not Red. Yeah, we're giving the bear the rest of the week off. He got into the honey a bit much and he's a little under the weather. So, anyway, just me this week. Anyway, we're here to talk about one of the hottest topics in the online tool discussion, and that is, of course, American made. How important it is it important? What's the reality of the situation? And we're going to talk about that because I think there may be an image you have in your head of what it means to be American made. And I think there may be a disconnect from the reality. So let's talk about that, shall we? And we're going to talk about two companies specifically here. We're going to talk about Stanley Black & Decker. Now remember, Stanley Black & Decker makes Mac, DeWalt, Craftsman, Black & Decker, Porter Cable, and that's just the power tool side. Then on the hand tool side, they've got Proto, they've got Craftsman, they've got Stanley, of course. I mean, they've got there's so many lines of tools out there that these guys make. It's just ridiculous. They're by far the largest tool manufacturer in the world. And then the other one is Snap-on. And Snap-on is really, they're the king of the tool trucks. They've been around for almost 100 years. And they really set the bar when it comes to automotive kind of tools. So let's dive into this a bit. There's been a lot of press recently. Stanley talking about how they're going to be reshoring all these jobs from Craftsman that they sent overseas. They're going to be bringing them back. Why they sent them overseas, we can talk about some more later. But the fact of the matter is, there was a lot of press around this. They're building this new factory down in Texas. This huge state-of-the-art factory. They can't tell you about how amazing it's going to be. This thing is going to be nearly 500,000 square feet. That's a big factory. All right, to put that in real-world perspectives that you can wrap your head around, that is the size of 5 Walmarts. All right, just stacked one next to the other. That's how big this thing is. But here's what I want you guys to start thinking about, because a lot of people, when they hear American factories, American jobs, what they picture is this guy making $35 an hour, taking home the money. He's got enough money to the wife can stay at home, put 2 kids through school. They can have a house, 2 cars in the driveway, a dog, maybe a cat. And they can still put away some for their retirement. That's what most people think of when they think American factory jobs. But the reality isn't so much this as this. $12 an hour on Prozac. It's, come on, he looks pretty sad. And this is an actual, guy working at a factory at Stanley Black & Decker. Because the jobs aren't exactly what you think they are. And not only are they not what you think they are, there's not as many of them as you think they are. That 500,000 square foot facility, how many people do you think are going to be working there? Factory that size, 5 times the size of a Walmart. Would you be surprised if I told you it's going to employ all of 500 people? 500 whole people in a building that size. Do you know how many people work at a Walmart? Just shy of 300 on average. That means an area the size of 5 Walmarts is going to employ less than 2 Walmarts. That's surprising when you think about it, but the reality is, you think what's going on when they build these factories is that you're hiring guys like this, bringing back American jobs. But the guy you're really hiring is this guy. All right, maybe not him, but more likely his cousin. Because these aren't American factory jobs, they're robot jobs, with humans tending to those robots. In fact, there's a big push right now, a big discussion going on in the business community about how we can bring manufacturing back to the U.S. now that the cost of robotics has come down enough. So we're not really bringing back factory jobs, we're bringing back attendant jobs. Somebody has to load the material, somebody has to take it off the line and put it in a box, because some stuff that robots can't do. But what they're not skilled trade jobs. They're essentially menial labor jobs. And as much as we like to see this, that's the other half. We want to look at this and go, yep, it's made in the U.S., but what we're really seeing is this. It's made in the U.S. with global materials and components. Because what's really happening is, especially with Stanley Black & Decker and a lot of these other companies, is they're making the value, the high value parts overseas. They're shipping them here, and then American workers are assembling them. Now, you may think that I'm being Scrooge here and trying to, be like telling you that there's no Christmas or this. Now, you may think I'm being the Scrooge here and telling you like that Santa Claus isn't real. The kids, don't worry when anyone tells you Santa's real. I know he's my uncle, and Red's brother Blue works for him from time to time. So we got some connections. You do right. Maybe I'll put a good word in for you. But let me show you exactly, not just my saying. Let me show you some footage from these actual factories shot by the companies themselves. Okay, let's start off with a Stanley Black & Decker plant here. And as I was saying, what the humans do here, humans load the material, they pick it up, they're even walking, they ride the, actually it looks kind of fun. And machines turn out the product. You see the guy in the back watching it. Oh, look at those smiling faces loading boxes, because that's what the jobs you get. Here's the jobs the robots get. And again, more cases of where you need human intervention, packing them up, putting them into trays. These are not skilled trade jobs. This is not the factory job your dad had. And look at poor Steve here. Man, it looks like they removed his soul at orientation, didn't they? How about Snap-on over in Algona, Iowa? Again, more robots. Robots moving materials, making the product. Hey, look, the human catches it. I may sound like I'm a bit over the top about this, but it's really all these people pushing like, all these great factory jobs. All the humans do in these kind of factories is load, and then the skilled labor, like, are they going to do the welding? No, the robot does the welding. They're there. They just look at low quality control. Is the robot doing what it's supposed to? Yep. All that. Where does the human come into play? What do they get to do? Well, they get to run some of the paint, but ultimately the robots are doing the real painting. But at some point, oh, there we go. Humans are assembling by hand. And for that's why you have a Snap-on price of $7,000 for this box. As you can see, clearly, these are not the typical what we thought of, in the past as being industrial jobs in America where, you clock in 9 to 5, you do a great day's job, and you really produce a real product. What you have here is you have guys tending robots, loading in parts, taking parts out, and just doing menial work. And what's worse is they're really promoting, these companies are really promoting it as American made, especially like Snap-on and stuff. In fact, I had one guy, I got into a discussion online, and he was touting his new Snap-on impact that he got, and how he ended it with hashtag Buy American, because all of his tools, as he swore, all of his tools were American made. He would never own any tools that were not American made. I made the mistake of chiming in because I thought he'd want to know, because he was obviously under the impression when he bought it from his Snap-on dealer that this was an American tool. And I said, hey, just so you know, if you go to Snap-on's website, you go to the online catalog, and you go to the details, you scroll down and actually tell you where these made. And this tool's made in China. In fact, all their power tools are pretty much. And he just completely lost it. Went completely off the rails with me, like somehow it was my fault that he had bought a tool made in China and he thought it was made in the USA. And it's just ridiculous. And you know what, guys? I am not against American manufacturing. In fact, I've even I was a consultant for a little while, working with Tesla at their factory there in Fremont, California. We helped them with some of the visualization, 3D modeling and stuff for their cars and for the factory. I've seen firsthand what it looks like. It's an amazing, it's an amazing product coming off of an amazingly high-tech plant. And, I'm all for them doing that. But when these guys chant rah, 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 American factories, this is what an American factory really looks like. It's not what we all grew up thinking it was. It's not what you see in the movies. And the jobs aren't that either. Because everyone thinks, I had somebody comment the other day, like, well, someone's making, I'd rather they were making $20 an hour than sending it overseas. Yeah, but they're not making $20 an hour. And it's, let's take a look at it, shall we? It's easy to find. Here's a machine operator, entry level, second and third shift, Stanley Black & Decker, $14.32 an hour. Here's Snap-on in Algona, Iowa. I'm a huge Iowa fan. Go Hawks. My family's from Iowa, both sides of my family, from Emmitsburg and from Clear Lake. I grew up in around the Des Moines area, Indianola, and then even over in Nebraska. All right, I'm a huge Midwesterner when it comes down to it. I'm all for jobs back there. Now here's a job, starts at $15.38 an hour. You increases every 30 days until you reach top pay of $19.97. Don't think that that's $1 every 30 days. That's going to be a nickel here, a dime here, and at top level for that shift, after you're a senior operator, you're going to be making about $40,000 a year. Now, there may be some of you who are like, oh, I'd like to make $40,000 a year. I can remember when I thought making $20,000 a year would be amazing. I don't have a college degree. I did go to college. I dropped out. Kids don't do that. Get your degrees. At least get your degree in something that's worthwhile, okay? That said, these aren't the jobs that you think they are, okay? You could go across the street. This is in Algonquin, Iowa also. You can go across the street and for 16 something an hour, you can be sweeping up a warehouse. Walmart cashiers on average make $17 an hour. That's a cashier. Heck, look at Harbor Freight. $13.62 for a logistics supervisor. Logistics supervisor is kind of the grunt job of, it's below, as I understand it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a lot of Harbor Freighters out there. You got store managers, you got assistant managers. They're kind of like if I understand it, like a shift supervisor kind of level. They're the person who's been there a while, they've worked their way up, and they've got some responsibilities. From what I hear, they got a lot of responsibilities and probably aren't getting paid quite what they should. But, you guys will tell me, $13.65 an hour to start. That's starting pay. And this is, that's a retail job. At least in a retail job, you get experience there. You can go to another retail job. If you're making $15 an hour packing boxes, you can find another job with, well, we're looking for experience. And, do you have box packing experience? Heck, Chick-fil-A is paying $17 an hour, and you get Chick-fil-A sandwiches. Talk about benefits. Now, we had a guy on the channel made a comment I thought really resonated. He said, I don't mind paying a little bit extra for this Made in America stuff if I'm putting food on the table for the the franchisees for kids. I don't mind that, putting on food on the table for the kids. He said, but I didn't realize was I was also sending those kids to Harvard. That's the thing, is this profit margin that they're making. Remember these tools, look at those 10 millimeter wrenches I did a video on a while back. The Snap-on wrench, $33. The Tecton wrench, what was it, $7? Harbor Freight wrench was $3. You got to be smart about these things and think about where this money's really going. Snap-on, this is the CEO of Snap-on standing in front of his flag made with red, white, and blue wrenches, trying to promote to you that, Snap-on's a very American company. They're always pushing how American they are. When I've gone through their catalog and I've looked and found over half the items on that catalog have a country of origin that is not the United States. Here's the CEO of Stanley Black & Decker sitting in front of all these Craftsman products. They bought Craftsman from Sears for $900 million. And then they promptly shipped all of those jobs overseas. And what they're bringing back is not what we were expecting them to bring back. When they said we're gonna reshore these jobs, we thought they'd be taking those actual factory jobs and reshoring them. But you saw in the video, that's not what we're getting. I just want you guys to be smart. Think about what it is that they're selling you. Think about what it is that they're offering. Anyway, at the end of the day, just consider about whether your patriotism is being exploited for their profit. Anyway, that's all I have for you. The bear may be back. Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, take care as always. And for all of us here, God bless. Shine on.